Another incredibly valid point that I would like to make about the whole CPS situation is that one of the reasons that you guys took my kid was because you said that he was getting molested. So you took my kid away saying that he was getting molested. And back then, when you said that he said he was getting molested, see, even then, they never sent an FBI agent to question him any further. They never sent anyone to question him any further. They never did anything about the alleged molestation, which was, according to them, part of the reason why they were taking the kid. They also told me that they actually wrote it up in the report that they were taking my kid because we were being sex trafficked, which was the first time in my life that anyone actually admitted what my family has been doing. It's more than just my family. I've mentioned some of the other people involved on my pseudo channel and all over my Facebook. There are people involved who I don't even know about, but those are at least the people that I do know of being involved. And now they're like, oh, we had to send the feds in to question your kid because of all of these allegations that you made, because you're such a terrible mother to make allegations. Well, what about the allegations that you guys made to take my kid away in the first place? And I'm going to tell you what they did. I was working at the CPS ski resort in New Mexico when a sheriff showed up while I was at work. She told me that she was at the house where I was staying and that there was some kind of problem there. And she began to ask me if I felt like I needed help and if I wanted help getting out of the place where I was. And I said, yes, actually, I don't know how to get out of there. Could you please help us get out? I'd been trying to leave. I didn't know how to leave that area yet. The people there had kind of been keeping us there. It was a problem. They had set me up with this job, telling me that I would be able to take my kid to work with me and that they were going to give us a room at CPS ski resort and that we were going to be allowed to basically live there while I worked, and, he would be able to, be at work with me, and then we would be able to go back to our room and spend the rest of the time together. And that's why I got that job there. I actually looked for a job like that across the US, and these people told me that I could do that there. So I began to work there, and then after I started to work there, then all of a sudden they told me that I couldn't have a room there, that my kid and I couldn't really be there. So you guys just signed me up to live and work here with my kid, and I just started working, and now you're going to tell me that I can't stay here, which renders me stuck at the trafficker's house, who, I just landed at the millionth one across the country that is a part of this network of people who are sent to me both on the internet and in person. If it's not on the internet, then it's in person. It doesn't matter either way. She acted like she was rescuing us. She put us in her truck. She let me get all my stuff together, put us in her truck. She acted like she had been there before and that she had watched the guy Richard there scream and yell at my kid and tell him. She said that he yelled at my son to don't tell her anything, talking about the sheriff. And honestly, I don't believe that. I'm pretty sure also that the sheriff was one of their neighbors. They would not have acted ignorant in front of law enforcement like that. She tried to say that the house was completely filthy, but they had a nurse come there every day for this elderly lady, Jackie, that lives there. They had a nurse come there every day. She cleaned the house. She bathes Jackie. She works for the state, for the county. So if it was really that bad of a situation, they would have seen that and they would have gotten help for that situation, because Jackie was there. They're both kind of senior citizen type people. And if they need that kind of help, their county especially a Native American county and workers, will make sure that they get the help that they need. Potentially more than any other community on the planet, these Native Americans will actually look out for each other, especially when it's their job as home health providers. Okay, so this sheriff comes to me with this complete lie, just this string of complete lies. She takes my kid and I out of there. She acts like she's rescuing us. There really is this huge relief in the car of being rescued. And she says that she's going to help us get into a domestic violence shelter. And she parks her car in front of the domestic violence shelter. She leaves my 5-year-old and I in her truck while she walks into the domestic violence shelter by herself. She leaves the heat on. It's June. It's a hot June day. She rolls all the windows up and she turns the heat on full blast while she walks into the domestic violence shelter, and she leaves my son and I in her hot baking truck. He's literally in the back seat, gasping for air. He's like, "Mom, it's so hot. I can't do this." He's like, "Why is she doing this to us?" He's like, "It's so hot, Mom." I was like, "I know, honey. I'm sorry. She's got us locked in here. There's nothing I can do to help you. I'm so sorry." And we were just stuck like that until she came out. And when she finally came out, she was carrying a box of tampons. And she was like, "They said they can't let you in here, that you're not in a domestic violence situation." She didn't let us talk to them or anything. She was just like, "They said that you don't qualify to be in here. Here's a box of tampons. We're going to see if the Dream Tree project can help you get into a hotel," which was something I'd already done. So here I am all over again, going through this fake Dream Tree trafficker project crap. It's all part of their human trafficking program. So is the domestic violence shelter. So they use that program to get my kid and I a hotel for the weekend. And like, we're chilling in this hotel. We have food, you know what I mean? And a box of tampons. Thanks a lot. And this sheriff hovers the fuck around the hotel, asking me all kinds of questions about my kid. She's asking me all kinds of genetic questions. She's asking me all kinds of questions about my kid's genetics, my genetics. And then at about 10 or 11 o'clock, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, they have a CPS worker show up. And they tell me that this CPS worker has to question my kid, and that I can't be in the room. They tell me that I cannot be in the room or even in the hotel while my son is being questioned. They say I can't even wait out in the hallway, that I have to leave the fucking hotel for my son to be questioned by this bitch. And so this sheriff walks me out of the hotel and makes me stand outside with her. And we stand outside for over an hour. We stand out there so long that she even is like, "What the fuck is this bitch doing?" She doesn't say it like that, of course, but we can both feel like, we both feel it in our gut that something is wrong. Why is this woman just taking it upon herself to be in a fucking hotel with my little boy by themselves for over an hour? Like over an hour. Like, I don't know if it was 2 hours, but it was well over an hour. Okay. And then, like, finally they get an okay. The fucking sheriff gets an okay through text message, I guess, that it's okay to finally walk in. And that fucking CPS bitch, she walks out. Now, they've been texting, like, the sheriff has been texting people and walking off and acting like really weird. She sweats bullets. She's just been sweating bullets the whole time, acting really, really nervous. And this fucking social worker comes out to tell me that my son was getting molested and that he confided in her that he was getting molested. And that she is opening the CPS case now, and that she will be removing my child from me. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I already knew that they were going to fucking try to pull some shit like this. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing. Like, I was tracked and trafficked across the country so that these people could take my kid. I was running the whole time because I knew they were trying to take my little boy away. They've been trying to do it since he was born. Really, really drastically, really dramatically. They're hard in the paint trying to take this baby away the moment he was born. Super weird. So she tells me that he's asleep now. And it's like 11 o'clock or almost 11 or after 11, somewhere like that. She tells me that she put my son to sleep and that I'm not allowed to ask him any questions about how or who molested him or show him any sympathy or say anything about it. She tells me I'm not allowed to say anything to my kid as he has to wake up and leave. And for the second time, I have to watch a child protective service worker senselessly, illegally remove my child from me at nighttime while they are asleep. This has happened to me twice now. They'd already gotten me shelter. I was in the shelter I was in a hotel room for the whole weekend. She told me that Dream Tree project could extend for the whole week, keeping us there together in that hotel for a week. But they used this pretend molestation bullshit to take my kid away. And then they wrote up in the paperwork that I was being sex trafficked and that whenever I got my own place, that I could have my kid back. So they dubbed me a sex trafficking victim, my kid and I, but they didn't actually get us any help with the domestic violence shelter or for sex trafficking victims. And they pretended that he said that he was molested, and they did no further investigation into the situation at all. And then they continued to have me tracked across. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to tell you eventually the rest of what they did afterwards. I mean, they had my boss poison me. I mean, I got a job in a car directly after that. I went and slept under a bridge so that I could get a job, and I got a car very quickly. I had the money. I worked up a couple grand very quickly, and I went to... I told my boss that I needed to take a week off work so that I could find a right apartment and get my kid back and talk to these workers and everything that I needed to do to get my kid back. And he'd just been taken just a couple months before, just within just only 2 or 3 months, and I already had it. You know what I mean? And so she let me take off work, and then she poisoned me. She poisoned me severely. It was the most severe poisoning I've ever had. I may have even had a stroke. I don't know. But I had to recover on foot on the streets because she and that sheriff tracked me from New Mexico all the way down. Yeah. When I fled after she poisoned me, they followed me from New Mexico all the way down to the state of Alabama, where they messed up my car, and I had to do the rest of I've had to do the rest of this on foot the entire time. And even the people at Walmart saw that sheriff there because she followed me through a Walmart talking on her little, talking into her little like watch phone thing or whatever. She had her hair dyed blonde. She looked just like Mallory Knox off of the movie Natural Born Killers. Walking around through the store like a secret agent, following me or being in front of me, talking into her little thing. And then she actually walked out into the parking lot. She stood in front of her crappy car and she stared at me while she talked on her stupid little wrist device thing or whatever. She stared at me so long that I was able to walk over to a couple of employees who were standing outside of Walmart, and I was able to like whisper to them and hint to them that this woman was stalking me and that I needed help. And they actually went in and they actually collected footage, and I don't know if she got in trouble or not, or if they caught her out there or not, or whether or not police had to interact with her or whatever, because I ended up leaving. I almost wish I'd have stayed, you know what I mean, to see what happened to her, but like, it's bad, you guys. It was really that bad. She really did follow me all the way to Alabama after their poisoning was botched because I didn't die from the I guess that they gave me, I don't know what they gave me, but it almost killed me. It was really bad. And all those people hang out. They all hang out at the same restaurant. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Those who know, know. So then I begin to try to rescue my kid because I realized, like, my family set all this up. They had bestiality sacrifices. They chased us across the country. They took my kid away. Now he's going to them. Now he's with them. And so I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't have a real lawyer. I don't have any help whatsoever. I have no support network. I'm completely alone. People, you know what I mean? Yes, sure, I couch surf or whatever. I'm completely alone. I don't give a single fuck. Like, this is fucking terrible. I can't get anybody to listen to anything I fucking say. And then they're like, oh, well, the FBI went and questioned your kid because of the allegations that you make, because of all the allegations that you make. What about the allegations that you fucking made? What about the allegations that you made trying to say that my kid got molested and that that's why you were having to take him away because I just let my kid get molested or whatever? Fuck that shit. I wasn't letting my kid get molested, you fucking dumb bitch. They were set. Those people in the house that I was in, they're the ones who worked with CPS to set all of that up. They had us staying at their house so that I could have my kid taken away. That was the entire fucking point. They knew that CPS was going to come take the kid and that they were going to be questioning my son about things like that because that's what fucking CPS does. So yeah, they're definitely not going to be molesting the kid right before they have CPS workers come take him away. And I'm not sure that sheriff didn't live right next door to those people. You know, here they are buddy, but she and this social worker are going to try to say that he was molesting my kid and that the house was so trash that, it was just dog shit everywhere and all this dog filth and stuff, even though a nurse goes to that fucking house on a regular basis. They take food there like almost every day. Yeah, county workers walk into that house on a regular basis. I don't appreciate this double standard, and I also already made it clear that you guys are a sleep sex trafficking ring. That's how I got pregnant with the kid to begin with. I've never met his father. You guys aren't able to give me his name. You're not able to tell me who he is. You're just able to talk about all this genetic information that you're so obsessed with and concerned with, but you can't give me my kid's dad's name. You don't know who that is, even though you just sent my kid to that same group of people that his dad is a part of. The only way that I know who his dad is because he's a fucking YouTuber and he sits around and talks in code. That's the only way I even know who my kid's dad is. I've never spoken to him. I don't know what his fucking name is. And CPS refuses to tell me while they want to say that I'm fucking schizophrenic. Yeah, I'm so schizophrenic they can't tell me my kid's dad's name. Cool. So how is the kid supposed to be able to give you the details about how he's molested in his sleep? How are these kids supposed to give you details about how people drug them and take pictures and videos of them while they're sleeping? That's what I experienced as a child in that household. I've expressed that. I've expressed that online. I've expressed that to police. I've expressed that to the FBI. I've done so in writing. I've done so by phone. I've shown up in person. I've done this across the motherfucking United States of fucking America. I don't appreciate the double standards of your little fake investigations and going and questioning kids. Whenever I say that they got molested or that they have a chance of getting molested or exploited, especially while they're asleep, that they're going to be subject to extreme forms of psychological torture and abuse from professional abusers, people who were guilty of a murder for hire campaign against me. They were just awarded my child. Yeah, My kid was just adopted out to them. They followed me across the United States. They had me poisoned in almost every state. Yeah, because they stole my inheritances, trust funds, or properties or whatever. Anyways, they have to make sure that I don't live anywhere, that I can't work anywhere, that I don't have any identification documents, that I don't have anything. It's absolutely fucking horrible. It's not a figment of my imagination. This is the results of the shit. Do you really think that I'd be fucking homeless out here like this? Do you think that I'd really allow myself to just be like this for show? Do you think that I would let myself get trafficked across the country with no money, no way to really pay for anything? Dude, they gave me food stamps a few months ago. I couldn't believe it. I've gained like 20 or 30 pounds already. It's the first time I've been able to go in and buy like food and have food, except for whenever I was in Socorro, because I was able to panhandle for like $100 a day there. I was able to go into Walmart every day and buy anything that I wanted to eat. I usually gave myself about a $10, like $15 limit, you know what I mean? But I was able to eat healthy that way. I was able to get everything that I craved and needed every day. But, you know, I couldn't spend every single fucking day of my life panhandling on the streets of Socorro. You know what I mean? I had to kind of keep going, especially while people are shooting things at me while I'm panhandling. There are people in West Virginia right now. I watched them drive right in front of me in Socorro, New Mexico during the summer. At the time I'm explaining all this to you, it's early November. And that's another thing is, if everyone's watching so hard, if you guys are constantly listening through our phones and through the Alexas and in all these other different ways, it's just crazy to me how people can act like they're paying attention, and so many people can act like they're paying attention, and they just don't care. Just, it's like none of these people care about any children at all. They don't give a single fuck. And here I am. This is like 5 or 6 years into these fucking CPS cases that they keep fucking doing. And you know, the last time they made me wait 2.5 years to get my kid back. They had me going and taking drug tests every single fucking morning for 2.5 years. There might have been 50 mornings in that 2.5 years that I didn't have to take a drug test, aside from the weekends, of course. That was it, dude. I had a file that was this big in the drug testing place, a bigger file than anyone else had ever had, because of how abusive they were with making me get up and take drug tests every morning. They would even try to lie and say that I failed drug tests that I didn't really fail. And they would have to send the fucking shit off to the lab. And then in the lab, they would be like, no, this person, there's nothing in there, you know? And then the whole while, they court ordered me to go to this Celebrate Recovery place. Here I am trying to avoid socializing with anybody, trying to keep my nose clean, just trying to get my kid back. And they court order me to go to the Celebrate Recovery trash, where now I'm supposed to be surrounded by drug addicts who, a lot of them had their kids taken away. They're all being court ordered to go there to church. Court ordered to go to church. That's what Celebrate Recovery is. It's a church thing. It's a fucking Christian recovery thing. But you got to be careful because it's very dangerous and manipulative. And people will be on probation and in CPS cases and in drug houses and all that shit. And they'll be all court ordered to go to church together. And they'll be all told, you know, not to hook up with each other and stuff. But after you've been going there for years and stuff like that, those are the only people that you're around. I mean, other than work, and you're not going to want to hook up with anybody at work. And honestly, being in any of those situations, you're not going to want to hook up with anybody anyways. But can you imagine just going years, not being around your family, not being around anybody, just court ordered to go to these fucking stupid ass fake drug meetings and church settings and shit where all these pretenders pretend to pray for you and pretend to care for you and invite you into their little fucking meetings and shit so that you can let everybody know what you know. You know what I mean? Or they can take back what they think that they heard from you to somebody else. They can report back about what they heard you say in the group. And that's all that happens. They get information from these girls. They set them up. They made me think that I was okay. Like, they made me think that they were dependable people, and that that they might even have my back and stuff. All those people ended up setting me up in the end. They ended up, like, as soon as I got my kid back from CPS, they called CPS on me and reported me to CPS to reopen a CPS case so that I would be forced to go back to Celebrate Recovery. And so that I would be forced back into this CPS child trafficking network again. It's never stopped. It's just never stopped since. As soon as I realized that they were doing that, I took my little boy and I ran. I was like, I can't let them do this to me again here. And I took him and I ran. Well, they had those human sacrifices too, but I still stayed there for like a couple weeks after that. But as soon as CPS showed up, I was like, I can't do this again. I can't just let them take my kid again, especially after they killed those women like that. And so I took my kid and I ran across the country, dude. Like, the first place I went was New York. I told law enforcement in New York what had happened. Like, I couldn't tell them everything. I could only tell them a little bit because everywhere I go to talk to law enforcement, they act like they were waiting for me beforehand, and that, like, someone told them that I was stupid or not to listen to anything I said, or that I was crazy or something. So here I show up to all these fucking different cop places, and, like, it's really fucking serious. It's a really serious situation where my child's life is in danger. And I'm showing up to all these cops and talking to all these law enforcement people, and they're treating me like I'm a fucking retard. And they're not allowing me to give the full fucking story or explain to them what I really need to explain to them. They're just treating me like I'm stupid and like, oh, okay, see you later. We'll put you. What the very first ones told me that they would put me in a domestic violence shelter if I wanted, but I already knew that that was going to be bad. You know what I mean? And I also did not want to be in a domestic violence shelter that early on because I had just developed amnesia and I needed to be consuming cannabis because cannabis reverses brain damage. And I had just been made a witness to something incredibly traumatic, the most traumatic event of my life. And I needed to prevent brain damage. I needed to reverse any brain damage that came with that. And I used that cannabis to help relieve my trauma from having to experience those women be slaughtered. And I was able to restore my memory health for the most part within about a year and a half after those sacrifices and after being run out of this very town. So now I'm back in this town where, and like all across the country, all of these crazy things would be orchestrated in front of me. People would need the law called on them or the shit reported everywhere I go. I have so many reports. And that's just how it is every single fucking day. Like, there's not even enough time in every day for me to, like, and no one wants to work with me. They just want to be like, oh, she's stupid, don't listen to her. So I don't really know what else to do other than just tell the general public, because I'm not just going to sit alone like this anymore. I mean, you guys have isolated me my entire life. I don't want to be isolated like that anymore. If I'm going to be surrounded by people who think I'm stupid, that's one thing, but there's got to be people in the world who can see me and not just decide that I'm stupid and that my kid doesn't matter and that I don't matter, that my situation, that I need to just be oppressed forever and no one fucking listen to anything I say. Eventually someone will hear it and actually give a fuck. Anyways, as I was saying before, I don't appreciate the weird shit with CPS. You guys hanging out with how did you get my kid to go to bed under those circumstances? Like, he just went to sleep like that? And that's the thing, is we're in a fucking sleep molester trafficking ring, sex trafficking ring, and then you're going to put the kid in to sleep before you take him? Like, that's fucking weird, bitch. That's way fucking weird. Yeah. And then she's like, oh, you can't tell him that you feel bad that he got molested or anything, because he didn't get molested. And if I would have said anything like that to him, he would have been like, what the fuck are you talking about, Mom? Just so horrible. Like, that's a kid who, you know, we laid down side by side and went to bed together every night under those circumstances. And here now, all of a sudden, the very last time I even had my kid, a CPS worker laid him down to go to bed after she made me leave my hotel room. Okay, and there's no reason why all of these problems should have gone on this long. Under the circumstances, if you guys have a mom, a dad in a CPS case or whatever who has these kinds of serious concerns, the answer should not just always be to say that they're all schizophrenic. I'm not sure how many times you guys have pulled the schizophrenic card on healthy parents, but it's definitely not okay anymore. It's 2025 also. I'm not sure if you guys know what year it is. People are fully understanding of manipulation tactics. They're starting to learn all about how this sex trafficking shit really works. They're starting to learn that, you know, not everybody involved in a CPS case, or not every cop, there's a lot of corruption happening. People are beginning to see it. Not everybody's retarded out here. Not everybody's going to let you just pull the blinders over their eyes. As far as I'm concerned, you guys kidnapped my kid. You kidnapped him multiple times. You even had me kidnapped. You know what I mean? Like, and here my kid has been kidnapped. My kid is gone. He's missing. He's with evil people who basically had him kidnapped legally, illegally. Okay? And I have been suffering. I've only spent about 3 years of my child's entire life with him. Okay, I'm not going to tell you exactly how old he is. He's around the age of 10. Okay, at this point, I've only been able to spend 3 years of his life with him because they keep doing this to me. And they also they couldn't tell me that he was the product of incest rape until the last year or two. And in that case, they just said, these are the kid's genetic results. It shows that his parents are related, and they told me how that they were related. And I just know that I don't know who that person is, but I do know who they are from seeing them on YouTube. And I've asked, these CPS workers, like, you don't think that you should be like letting me know who the kid's dad is, or that no one thinks that a police report needs to be made about, this whole forced breeding thing. And no one has felt that it's necessary to hold anyone accountable for getting me pregnant while I don't know them. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of an issue. And the court has not been sensitive about it at all. Like, when the judge told me, I thought that she was just bullying me. Like, when the judge told me, I didn't even understand that she was being serious. I initially thought she was just bullying me. And then I had to, like, over the hours and days and weeks, I had to, like, put it all together. It literally would take me weeks or months before I actually realized who it was and that they were a relative of mine, and I just hadn't caught on quickly enough, or it had cost. So what it is that a million different ideas cross my mind at the same time, and I know that one of them is the answer, but because so many millions of different ideas of what could be the answer to something will cross my mind, you know what I mean? It's like, yes, I took that into account, but until I know for sure, I just say that I don't know, or I say I assumed this, or I say I assumed it was that, when really it was a million different things I was able to assume all at the same time. There was a retard who commented on one of my videos saying, this is why schizophrenic people's, he said, this is why people's families abandon them when they're mentally ill because they just ramble on like this. And I just like to say that was a fucking retarded ass comment. You could tell that that was somebody who was involved in my family and their little fake schizophrenia bullshit. Also, I think that time is really important. Your ability to manage your day time-wise is really important. My time management is also highly important. I don't want to give you guys a bunch of empty space, a bunch of pauses. I want to fill that time that you're taking to watch my videos. I want to add as much in there as I can. I'm not trying to waste your time, so I'm going to give you as much information as fast as I can. Not as fast as I can, but as fast as I think that you'll be able to keep up with. And all right, that's it for this video, I guess. I can't really let it go on any longer, otherwise it just takes too long to upload. To the people who are actually watching and actually care, I thank you so much. And for everyone else, you know, good riddance. And it's getting down to the wire with this whole child trafficking thing, where I'm not going to ask God to have mercy on your souls anymore. I mean, this is severe.